Hello, welcome. This is Zoid, and in this video I'm going to be talking about our attack surface management platform, Cyberlix. Cyberlix is the next leading attack surface management platform for bug bounty hunters. So what bug bounty hunters can do is pretty much run scans on their favorite bug bounty program, and Cyberlix will perform recon and exploit those assets. There will be options to view all the assets, all the technologies, all the exploits it's found. You'll be able to monitor those assets, look out for changes, and you'll get notified for changes. You can also use predefined markup templates, which you can just copy across to your report in BugCrowd or HackerOne. You can also create your own report templates. There's a bunch of features that we've specifically made that will help bug bounty hunters find bugs and get paid. Essentially, that's what our main goal is, to help bug bounty hunters and help the community get better at bug bounty hunting. So we'll have a section in the dashboard where you'll be able to watch videos and learn about path normalization and learn how you can exploit it, perform recon to find if something's vulnerable, and our tooling that we can use to help you find path normalization vulnerabilities. So this is our landing page right here. We've just made it in WordPress. It's very simple. You can view this at www.cyberlix.io. I'll have it down the bottom there, and it goes over what we do and it goes over all the different features that we'll provide for bug bounty hunters. You can have a look at this if you want to. And there's also a pricing page. There's a bunch of blog articles that we've written on our blog of things that I've discovered. And just things to help bug bounty hunters out, so tips for developing a hacker mindset. You can read that if you're just learning bug bounties. If you're getting into cybersecurity, you can learn that, and this will give you some ideas and some tips on getting started. And there was also another bug that I found and I wrote about, which was break and parser logic, gain access to Nginx Plus API. There's a bunch of other articles that you can go and read. If you've already tried attack surface management platforms before and there was a feature that you just really wanted but wasn't in there, you can also fill in this form, a feature request form, and this form will get emailed to us, and I will look at it and I'll implement the feature if I think it's worth it. So you can have a look at this. If you wanna pre-enroll, so when the platform's live and you can pay for it and use it, you can fill in this form here. If you click on join waiting list, there'll be a form provided where you just fill in your email address, the name, and some other thoughts or comments, and I will get that. I'll get your email and I'll send you an email when it's live and ready to be paid for, and you'll be the first to use the platform. Now, the other thing that I wanted to go over was our tooling. So I've created some tooling that will help Cyberlix collect assets and exploit them. So we've pretty much wrote the core scanner in Rust and we've named it Cyberlix. But I wanted to show off some of the capabilities that the scanner has, how strong and fast it is. It's very fast, it's low level, it's Rust, I love it. So if we go to the target directory where we've pre-compiled the binary, and we'll just go to the release and then the Cyberlix. So as you can see here, if I do attack H for the help, we've got all of these arguments here. We've got concurrency where we can, determine, we can specify how quickly, how fast we want to run the program, how many workers we wanted to use to perform each job. We've got a bunch of things here, which is really cool. So we've got our output type. This is what I've implemented yesterday. So we can output the results in JSON, colored, or default is text. So text is our default output type that will be used to import into the database, basically. So JSON, we're not using JSON to import into the database. We're importing just our own made up output type, which is just in a row like HTTPX, and then we use some bash to grep out what we need to import into the database. So what we've essentially done is we've used Terraform, which is infrastructure as code, to provision the scans to DigitalOcean, so it will automatically deploy the scripts onto a droplet. And what will happen is it will create a VPN tunnel between that droplet and our main production server that's host like our Linode server. So both DigitalOcean and Linode can communicate, and once the scan's done, it'll automatically send the results over to our Linode database. So it keeps it secure, so no one on the outside can connect to our Linode database, or they can't log in, they can't even connect or ping our Linode IP, our tunnel IP that the DigitalOcean droplet will use to connect to. Basically, it's only accessible between the DigitalOcean droplets and the Linode server. That's what we've made it. We've implemented that so it's more secure. Think about it as like if you're from home and you want to log into your work network, you'd use a VPN tunnel. It's essentially what we've done to make things easier. You've got an option to specify the word list, the output file, the rate that rate of the maximum in-flight request per second, the scan type, and the template that we'll use to detect vulnerabilities with, and then all those other arguments. So if we just do a tac I for our in file, we actually specify it like this. So this is going to be our list of subdomains essentially that are alive. So what you generally do, what we'll do in the back end. What we'll do in the back end is we'll essentially perform the subdomain enumeration for you within our Cyberlix tooling. It will then just execute a system command like subfinder and all that. It will collect those assets and it will use HTTPX as another asynchronous command, and then it will output all that and then perform like crawling techniques. It will crawl the targets, it will crawl the subdomains, it will then collect all the paths, and then it will actively exploit those assets. And then also do some technology lookups and things like that using WAPalizer. There's a lot of features that are built into Cyberlix. It's going to be awesome. So we'll specify home Zoid recon, and then there's just a Yahoo alive. Just for now, we have to do the subdomain enumeration and the HTTP probe in separately, but that will be built into Cyberlix later on. So we do need to specify a word list, which I'm just going to use our word list AM word list. And then for our, we don't need to specify an out, but for an output type, it's going to default to text, so we'll leave that. The rate's fine, but for now, I'm going to use the scan type, as our crawler. I haven't actually done the HTTP probe yet. I've done the vulnerability detector, and I haven't done the tech detector has some problems, but the crawler, the vuln detector is pretty much done at this point. So we use the crawler first. We have to specify a template, although we don't need to use a template for the crawler. We can if you want to also do vulnerability detector in combination with the crawler. So I'll use the template, I don't know, cross-site scripting. Actually, no, let's do path normalization. And then, I need to finish that off. .yaml. And then that should be pretty much fine. So if we run that, so we do have to specify an output file. We'll do just output results, like that. Awesome. So what's going to happen is it's going to crawl through all those assets. I've just got a bunch of alive Yahoo domains, and it's crawling. And what would happen is within our bash script, it would pretty much grab those paths that it's discovered, those routes, all the crawled routes and files and things like that. It would automatically send it across to our Linode database through that VPN tunnel. So that's that, and it goes pretty quick. If we also change the output type to say JSON, just in case you do want to use JSON, you can specify that as well. Obviously this is only going to be for us, it's private, so but it'll be built into the Cyberlix engine. So you can look at that, and it's exporting, or it's actually outputting all the scanned results or the crawled URLs into a JSON format. You can also do the colored output, which just gives us a nice fancy output with some colors. Like that. And it tells you like the response length and all that as well. Okay, so we've got that. Let's have a look at our scanner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our templates, and we've got actually these templates here. We've got a cross-site scripting template, we've got a match string response, a path normalization directory, brute force, and a path normalization template. Let's have a look at one of these. Let's have a look at let's have a look at the cross-site scripting template. And I'll show you the structure of one of these templates. So for the structure, we've got our detection field here, which we define our info, which just tells you a bit about the template, like the author is me, the tag is cross-site scripting, the severity is medium, and then you've got the scan settings, like if you want to check for reflection, if you want to traverse, if you want to inject into the parameters. And then we've got our first match, and then a second match. So we can define two different stages for our first match and the second match. This was specifically designed for path normalization, which I've extended to other types of vulnerabilities or attack vectors. So if you have a look at the path normalization template, we've got, let me just clear the screen and get like that. We've got, again, our detection stage, and then we've got our info, our scan settings where we don't perform directory brute force, we don't check for reflection, but we traverse instead, and then we don't inject parameters. And then for the first match, we want to detect any 400 or 500 status codes. And then the second match, it'd have to be a 44. And if both these stages are successful, it will print out a valid finding. And then from there onwards, after we detect a valid, like if we footprint the asset and those stages match, then we want to perform a directory brute force, where yes, we directory brute force. We don't do any of these, and then the first match has to be a 200. There's also, you can also perform a body match, or a string match in the body. So that's when we don't use type status, but we use type body. So if I show you that match string in response, this is instead using body instead of status, where we can match things in the body instead. So let's have a look at the match string response, and let's do that with the asset Google, because that's what it's checking to see the title is Google. So we'll just use the URL Google, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open up our test file, and I'm going to insert the Google as the asset to do the body match. So I'm going to do that. I'm then going to use that. The match string response that's going to try and match Google in the title. So I'm going to then go to I'm going to use the vuln detector instead, and then I'm going to use the match string response, and then for the asset, for the file with all the assets, we're going to use our test instead. So we run that. It's then going to print out, see it says success Google. Obviously it hasn't actually returned, and if it's found a match, hasn't like kind of stopped there, it keeps on going. So that's a kind of an issue that I need to fix. But yeah, it works, and it took 5 seconds to complete. If it just broke when it found that result, it would have sped up a lot. But that's pretty much that. If we want to try maybe the path normalization on, let's say, let's have a look on Recon. Let's have a look at Dell, because I've got a lot of, let's have a look at Dell Alive. And what we're going to do, this is going to be a good one. We're going to actually use the path normalization template and see if we can find any AEM type vulnerabilities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run that on Dell, on some Alive hosts that I've collected in the past, and I'm going to use the path normalization template to footprint path normalization, to look out for specific status codes, and then we're going to do a directory brute force if it's found anything. And this is running against quite a few targets as well. Okay, so it didn't find anything. It took 190 seconds. If we increase the rate limiting, so at the moment it was doing 1,000 requests per second. If we increase that, that would have gone really quick. And if we increase the workers, it would have gone even faster because we're only using, I think, one worker. So it can be, you can really fine tune how fast you want it to go, but just to keep this video short and not having to like change all those settings, I just left it by default. So yeah, it found nothing, so there's no point doing a directory brute force. I think pretty much a lot of people have kind of they've kind of found a lot of AM vulnerabilities on Dell. I think pretty much Dell's sorted out their AM. It wouldn't surprise me if new assets come up and new assets have vulnerable AM AM misconfigurations. But, you know, that's when the power of monitoring those assets, you know, and that's what we're going to provide, is a way to monitor assets to see if there's new assets that popped up, or if there's any changes in the response or JavaScript files or subdomains, things like that. We're going to be able to provide that for you bug bounty hunters as well. So that's pretty much both those features demonstrated. Again, we can use the vuln detector with text, JSON, colored output, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Loving the support from you guys. Also, if you haven't pre-enrolled to our platform, join the waiting list, and you'll be notified when it's in production and it's ready to be used. So don't forget to do that as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, until next time, have a good day. Bye bye.